Henry Cavill is going to be the next James Bond. Or I will bet you a pint on it. There we go. And here's why. Hi guys, it's me, and I am putting my money where my mouth is. Putting my mouth where my money is. I think Henry Cavill is going to be the next James Bond 007. And why? Because I have followed a convoluted trail of breadcrumbs that lead me to believe it is the only inevitable conclusion. Let me explain. So, obviously we need a new James Bond. Why? Because the last one got blown up at the end of No Time to Die. Spoiler alert. And Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson, who are the head of Eon, which basically owns the James Bond movie intellectual property, said they're not going to come up with the announcement for another couple of years. And that means it's likely that the next James Bond film probably isn't even going to be in the movie theaters until like 2024. So keep that in the back of your mind. It's like, okay, 2024, that's when the next James Bond movie comes out. So that's interesting because you think whichever actor is going to be the next James Bond, hopefully he's not doing a lot in 2023, 2024, which is interesting because let's talk about an actor who's not going to be doing a lot for the next couple of years because he no longer has the iconic role that he has had for a number of years, which is Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill, who I'm sure you're all familiar with, is this very tall, impossibly handsome, ridiculously charming British guy who looks like he was born to play James Bond. In the same way that Pierce Brosnan was born to play James Bond, Henry Cavill was born to play James Bond. And he has played a very Bond-like character in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. He played Napoleon Solo, but it's a very Bond-like role because that show was started as a homage to Bond. But he is most well known at this moment for playing perhaps the only other character as iconic as James Bond, which is Superman. In the DC movies, he has played Superman for quite a while now. He was in The Man of Steel, which I think was almost like 10 years ago. And then he was in Batman vs. Superman, and he was in Justice League. So he is a big deal, and he's busy. And right now, there's a lot going on in the DC world because HBO and Discovery merged to become HBO Discovery or whatever, and the Discovery CEO, Mr. Zaslav, came on board, and he's making big changes, and he is cutting through all of the DC movies with a hatchet. There was this movie called Batgirl, which had been completely filmed already, and he just scrapped it. We are never even going to see it. And this wasn't just anything. I mean, first of all, it cost $90 million, this movie. Second of all, it had Michael Keaton returning as Batman. Had J.K. Simmons as Commissioner Gordon. And it's just like flushed down the toilet. And the other movie that's coming out very soon, the next one in the DC universe, I think, is Black Adam, which stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as Black Adam, which is like the evil Shazam. And for a long time, people were like, this is the movie in which Henry Cavill's Superman is going to come back. And it was rumored very, very strongly. And yet Henry Cavill didn't turn up to San Diego Comic-Con when they announced this movie. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, when he was on stage, was going on about how much he wanted to see a fight between Black Adam and Superman. And then he mentioned whoever might be playing him. And he got boos for that. So the rumor mill is saying that Henry Cavill is out as Superman. In fact, I believe that the rumors say he was offered a package by Warner Brothers to continue playing Superman, and he said, nope, not good enough, and he was out. So that means the thing that's been holding him up for the last couple of years, he's suddenly got, a block of free time in his schedule. And you know what we could do with that free time is perhaps move on from Superman to the only character who is equally iconic, which would be James Bond. Which is interesting. But my theory goes deeper than that. Because there are other rumors going on right now that Henry Cavill has been signed by Marvel to take a role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And that's very interesting. And these industry insiders have suggested he is going to be playing a character called Hyperion. Who is Hyperion, you might ask? Because I didn't know. I certainly didn't know when I first heard that. if you watch the movie The Eternals, I watched the first half of it before I fell asleep. There is a character in it called Icarus, and Icarus flies around and he shoots laser beams from his eyes, and he's basically Superman. And in the movie, one of the characters even says to him, "You're basically Superman." And that's interesting because Hyperion, as I found out, is another Eternal who has those same powers as Icarus. He's basically Superman. And let's say you were an actor wanting to move on from no longer playing one of the most iconic roles in cinema. What better way to give a middle finger, or in Henry Cavill's case, being English, the Agincourt salute? This is the correct way to flip somebody off. It's how you do traffic signals in New Jersey. There we go. Hey, I'm turning here. This is the correct way of insulting someone. Perhaps Henry Cavill is giving the Agincourt salute to DC by playing a character who is basically Superman, except in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Can you imagine, like, more of a two-fingered salute to DC than that? Except it gets even better. Because the thing about Hyperion is a bad guy. Hyperion is the leader of a group of superpowered individuals who are basically kind of like a mirror or parody of the Justice League. So the Justice League in the DC universe, you got Superman, you got Batman, you got Wonder Woman, you got the Flash, you got Aquaman. They're like this superhero team. It's a very iconic thing. If you look also at Watchmen, where you had that group of heroes, they were kind of like the Justice League. And if you watch that brilliant Amazon Prime show, The Boys, they've got the Seven, and the Seven are basically like the Justice League. So Hyperion and his crew operate kind of like the Justice League, but they're not good. In the comic books, they work with a guy called Kang the Conqueror, and they kind of get up to some, I heard someone call it some evil hood rat shit, to help him conquer the universe. And it's interesting because at the last San Diego Comic Con, the same one where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson got booed for saying whoever might be playing Superman, the Marvel group were announcing the next 2 years or so of Marvel movies. And it's all leading up to these 2 Avengers movies in something they call the Kang Dynasty. Because if you remember, I said Hyperion works for a guy called Kang the Conqueror. And the next stage of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is going to be a saga in which the Avengers and the Marvel heroes go up against Kang the Conqueror. And we got introduced to Kang the Conqueror in the Loki TV show on Disney+. And basically everything is going to be leading up to this massive confrontation with Kang the Conqueror in the 2 Avengers movies. One's called Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, the other one is called Avengers: Secret Wars. And it's the Kang Dynasty that it's like going to see the big confrontation between Kang the Conqueror and whoever the Avengers are at that time. And who does Kang the Conqueror have working for him? That bloke Hyperion in it. Yeah, Hyperion and his little Justice League are working with Kang the Conqueror to try and dominate the universe. And that ties in really neatly with what Henry Cavill might be up to for the next couple of years. If he's honestly playing Hyperion, then yeah, this year he's probably filming and next year he's probably filming, because those movies come out in 2025, I believe. Which is interesting because Hyperion's role in the MCU pretty much ends at that point. So you can pretty much see that Henry Cavill's schedule is very busy up until kind of like 2023, 2024, which point, he's free to get on with something else. And it just so happens that is also the time frame at which Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson were talking about casting and filming the next James Bond film. So it fits in really neatly if you think about it. And the final reason why I think that all of these coincidences mean something is people are actually talking about rumors that Henry Cavill right now is in discussions with Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson about being the next James Bond. And so I think when you put all of these pieces together, it fits very nicely. And I don't know, Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson make creative choices that aren't always expected. They're bold. I mean, killing off James Bond in No Time to Die, that was bold. Casting Daniel Craig, the blonde Bond, that was bold. They make bold choices. But I think right now, at this point in time, one of the things that is very important is we are learning that there's a stakeholder in when you are making iconic things like Star Wars or Star Trek or James Bond, that you need to honor what the fans want. And Marvel have been doing this to huge success. I mean, recently in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, they had John Krasinski as Mr. Fantastic, and that was like pure fan casting. People have been going on for years about how he would be the perfect Mr. Fantastic, and they mocked up images and stuff like that. And then the people at Marvel were like, you know what, these people want this so much, we'll do it. And in some ways, that last Spider-Man movie was like, the fans want it so much, we'll do it. Listening to what fans want and then giving them what they want works. Ghostbusters Afterlife. They knew what the fans wanted. They gave it to them. It worked. 2016's Ghostbusters. They ignored the fans, derided the fans, gave us something we didn't want, and it tanked. Listen to the fans, give them what they want. And I think that is very, very powerful advice. And I think one of the things that has defined the James Bond movies throughout their entire run has been that they are very self-aware of the place they sit in terms of popular culture. Like, you know, the end of The Spy Who Loved Me, they said the next movie is going to be For Your Eyes Only, but it ended up being Moonraker because Star Wars got released and they were like, we need to have a space movie. And they did it, and it worked. Casino Royale, in some ways, is like the Batman Begins of the James Bond universe. James Bond movies have always been very self-aware of where they should sit in popular culture, and I don't think we should dismiss this. I don't think that Barbara Broccoli and Michael G. Wilson are going to go completely off track and do something completely crazy or weird. I think they are going to give the fans what they want. And what the fans want, as they keep telling us, is Henry Cavill as James Bond. And there are these weird coincidences about his schedule and stuff like that that makes it work very well in terms of his career. And when you go to the most recent statement that they've said, which I've already mentioned about, you know, James Bond has to be under 40, more than 5'10", British. I mean, that's almost like that's almost Henry Cavill to a T. And the fact that they cut it off at 40 and he's 39, I'm like, it's too much of a coincidence. So I'm definitely not saying that this is happening. I don't have any, you know, rock solid evidence that it's going to happen. But at this point, I'm willing to lay some money down and say, I think that Henry Cavill is going to be the next James Bond 007. When I say lay some money down, I'll tell you what, if Mr. David Zaritsky wants to put down a dry martini on this, I will take that bet. I don't have enough drinking power to take that bet with anyone else. But there it is. That's what I say. I'm laying a dry martini down on the fact that Henry Cavill will be the next James Bond 007. And I think we're going to hear about it sooner than you might think. So watch this space. And also, if you agree with me, let me know down in the comments below, because I love people telling me that I'm right. If you disagree with me, let me know down in the comments section below. Believe me, I'm married. I know what it's like to be told that I'm wrong. And if you have any other opinions or anything like that, let me know down in the comments below. I love reading those comments. They are awesome. Thank you very much. I'll be back very soon with another video with my inanity. But until then, Henry Cavill should soon be known as James Bond 007. Cheerio. I'm Roland Hume. I've sold 67,000 copies of my books. If you want to find out how I did it, I've got the link right here you can click. And otherwise, don't forget to subscribe. I've got more videos coming soon. Thank you.